Welcome to the Impact on the Ground with Tiia. I'm a CEO of Tech for Good company and passionate about making a difference. This podcast series will dig deeper into what it means to make an impactful change in society, whether you are an individual, charity, social enterprise, company, grant maker, or government body. It is all about collaboration, and we are here to discuss the dynamics, how it works in practice. We focus on the dynamics between those who have resources to give and those who are working to tackle the challenges in our society on the ground. We are inspired today by the World Environment Day 2021, and I have invited a special guest, Dr. Anna Kotsalo-Mustonen, to discuss how complex environmental challenges can be solved and what kind of a mindset it requires from the supporters, whether you are a company representative or grant maker, and what it means to charities who are doing the work on the ground. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you, Tiia. A pleasure to discuss with you as always.
Anna has had an amazing career and still is working actively on various sectors. She has extensive business background and has created companies, has worked for larger corporations. She has also academic career, and she's been studying successful partnerships and run a marketing research unit in the University of Helsinki. She's also an active startup entrepreneur as an investor, and she has founded a charity, Baltic Sea Action Group, which is a big foundation tackling the challenges we have in Baltic Sea. So she has had a first-hand experience in working both in corporate world, but also in charity sector, and has fundraised a lot and also operated the vast number of volunteers who have volunteered with the Baltic Sea Action Group, and also John Nurminen Trust, which she once gave her work experience for 1 year. So she actually worked for a charity for free for a full 360 days. Anna, what made you give this huge donation of your time and your skills to this charity, John Nurminen Trust?
To be honest, it was a birthday gift to myself.
To yourself? I thought it was for
yes,
charity.
To myself. I had my 50th birthday and I was out sailing with my husband, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and the archipelago front of Helsinki was at its best, and I said that this is why I love Finland. We have such a beautiful nature, even though it's cold in the winter, but you forget it during the spring and beautiful summer. And I was looking at the sea, and I knew that it's polluting, and I realized that maybe my children and grandchildren cannot enjoy this, that I want to do something. And then actually my decision was that I have a lot of experience from different fields, that why don't I actually try to do something practical? And that's probably a path that many people who are passionate about something go through. And I had a very difficult time finding somebody I could help. And actually, my friend from the childhood also had a birthday, and we decided together to raise funds as our birthday gifts and provide that to some charity that is working with the Baltic Sea. It was, like I said, extremely difficult, and because there is not such a culture that you would have a passion to do something and then you would find your counterpart that needs just those resources that you have. But then eventually I found this John Nurminen Foundation, and I walked in and I said that I would like to help, and they thought that I was selling my job and that I wanted to. It was a job interview, and they were actually very shocked. And I said, no, this is a gift for a year. I want to do something practical. And because I had a business background, quite a wide network, so I ended up collecting a lot of funds. And the target was the St. Petersburg's wastewater treatment plant, which is one big source of nutrition that's for the water. So during that process, I started my Baltic Sea work, and the sea is very important to me. I've always lived close to the sea, and it just brings me joy. And I think it's just one piece of nature, but it is interconnected to other things like the nature. I prefer, by the way, the word nature, because environment, by the way, if you start thinking about it, it in a way implies that we are in the middle, humans, and then there is the environment, but we are part of the nature all. Okay, it has a long traditions and so forth. But I think that it would help in many cases also for companies to realize that what kind of a connection they do have in even some smaller so-called environmental issues, because it's a big ecosystem made of smaller ecosystems. And there is something for everyone to do. And that was actually, I even got famous for that I always could find a connection to whatever company, to the Baltic Sea, which is quite a specific piece of environment. So if it's not direct, it can be some kind of part of a solution or part of the problem, and then there's ways of doing that. But like you see, I got excited about the idea that things can be done differently, not just the old way that you collect money and then you some company does some project and that's it. You have to look at wider, and that fascinates me. Like you said, I have done different things, but maybe the connecting issue to all of this is that I enjoy doing new things. I'm just built in that way that I when I see something in my mind starts to put it in pieces and try to see how it could be done in a better way.
So after the 1 year putting all this effort in, then you decided to set up your own foundation for the Baltic Sea. So, I mean, why? Aren't there enough charities in the world already? Or what did you want to do differently than the foundation did that you work for?
A very good question. And it was addressed to me several times, even years after that, because people didn't realize that if you're not thinking about and trying to understand how charities work, and if you're not able to see the opportunities that can be done, it looks charity 1, charity 2, why don't you join, and so forth. So during the year, I learned that if we really want to clean the Baltic Sea, we have to focus on the root causes. We have to understand how the different things affect one another, to understand that doing this will cause this and that. There are some people talk about eco-engineering, which is quite dangerous, because then we are interfering with the nature, doing something we don't know what will be the consequences of that. That is a challenge. Then there is a political challenge when we talk about pollution. The industry has already, in a way, cleaned their backyard years ago. But then there's this existing large challenge of agriculture. And that everybody understands that we cannot live without food. And there are long traditions how it's done. And
so how does agriculture now pollute Baltic Sea? Well,
actually, It is one of the major causes of produce or leaking nutrition. When we have a garden, if you want your flowers to bloom, you put nutritions, right?
Yeah.
But we do not want the Baltic Sea bloom with algae.
Yeah.
That's it in practice. So due to the location of the farms, if they're very near of the sea, there are a lot of runoffs. The structure of the soil, which we're actually now working very effectively. Then there are agricultural practices. I have become a sort of in a new field for a business person without no education in this area, but in a way, even it helps that you are not too deep in it, because then you're able to challenge. This had to be done like this.
Yeah.
So agriculture is supported by EU. You lucky guys aren't doing that anymore. They are financial interest conflicts and so forth. And but the idea is that we are trying in this foundation that I founded with my two colleagues to change the way farming is done. We have created sort of a platform where there are companies and farmers and trying to understand each other. And the smartest companies are benefiting this by applying certain practices or requiring, for instance, a beer large manufacturer of beer, when they buy their grain, they require that it's produced in a certain way.
Okay.
Which is, of course, a benefit for them in many ways. It's a brand issue, but also they realize that this will be the way of doing it. Now you can have an added value being one of the leaders, but eventually it will be forced by law and so forth. Yeah. So everybody has to do it.
So first year when you were working with Baltic Sea was kind of like direct level.
Yeah, collecting money. Yeah,
collecting money and removing the pollution, like almost like
not really pollution. Trying to lobby the Russians to clean their wastewater.
Okay.
So it was one project which. It was kind of interesting because I realized that I myself went a similar mental process. I got excited about it because they were measurable results.
Yeah.
That if we collect this amount of money, then we can help them with their project in Russia. It appealed to people who like numbers and so forth. But the true impact was never figured out.
Yeah.
And it was like we were fixing an outcome, not tackling with the basic problem.
Yeah.
The basic problem would be trying to create an industry that creates different type of waste management. Actually, we're now collecting our pee and whatever into one place, then we put a lot of water in it, and then we leak it into the sea. It's called sort of a point pollution. Actually, the pollution is created all over. It's a dumb thing in a way to collect it. So sewer systems, if they went there today, I think they would be created in a totally different way. We are in a way making it more difficult ourselves, but there's an infrastructure for that and so forth. So that's why there are also political issues also behind these things. You can't change them immediately, and that requires patience.
Yeah,
and
so
then
that's kind of the whole system has to then change. So
yes,
we call it systems change. like in
Yes,
terms
so
of
do
level
we.
of change. If you have direct, like instant change,
Yeah.
then you have to change. The next level is changing the system itself. So
Yeah.
it's a slow process. So how have you now succeeded collecting funds? Is it difficult to find grant makers and companies who are so patient that they believe in this very long winding change that might take tens of years to happen?
That again is one of the key questions what we have been tackling in our foundation, and I would divide it into two different things. One is that who are you collecting resources from the large audience or from companies?
Yeah.
And we very soon realized that our approach wasn't very attempting or appealing to the one-time individual donor who reacts to some kind of mental stimuli by advertising or whatever. But what we did was that we focus on those forerunner companies who are somehow connected to the Baltic Sea. And like I said, that I think that's an area where I have created a lot of experience to find that. And then when you have a sort of this is I'm representing now a charity view.
Yeah.
So my target was to find those companies that could provide some kind of aid. And like I said, everything is interconnected, and charity needs all kind of admin things or whatsoever. So whatever we needed, we were trying to get a donation for that.
So as not only money, but like services.
Yeah, we didn't buy anything. We didn't buy actually anything. And we had volunteers coming in because we were working in a different way. We have a very good reputation. And then when we are talking about the core issue that we are doing, then we involve the companies.
Yeah.
And when a company is explained how this is connected to their business, they're either able to get new markets. They might be able to create some kind of a new innovations. They can network with new other companies or customers, and or they can be helped to solve a problem that is a really bad reputation for them. So we didn't really care that if they were the bad ones or the good ones who were helping. The bad ones, we managed to have them concentrate on improving their things, and those ones with the solutions were helping then with their own resources.
Yeah.
And this appealed very well to the top management when you explain to them. And one thing that I learned quite early, which I didn't realize in the beginning, what the top management told in many companies, was that this is also extremely important for their employees. And then I realized that's true, because okay, I've been lucky to be in a challenging job always, and I never had a sort of a problem that I would need some kind of extra encouragement to be in those companies. But today there are a lot of companies who are fighting for the best talent, and the company might not be the sexiest one or whatever their reputation. But if they're able to show that they are responsible, companies use different approaches. They say that they have their citizenship or they have the CSR project or whatever. What kind of a typology is used, it's not important.
Yeah.
The important is that the company understands that what is their connection to this, what they can provide, what they can get by providing themselves something.
Yeah.
So it is the cooperation that really creates the added value.
So
and the added value is nice, but it's not enough unless you can report it.
Yeah. Well,
and that is a challenge.
At this point, I want to kind of give a couple of
Yeah.
words here. So you were talking about shared value proposition. So companies would actually benefit commercially by being involved, with your organization, or you were matchmaking them with other organizations. Then another thing, I think what I'm picking up here is that we get it too in what impact quite a bit, that companies, when they're looking meaningful thing for their employees to do, they think that people want to have a fun day out doing something like nice and fun, and maybe have a pint of beer after and whatnot. But you are talking about now that this kind of a very heavy duty systems change project can be very appealing to employees too. So especially, it's not just about them having a fun day out. They are smart people. They understand the story. That's what you're saying, aren't you?
Yes, and I've always also witnessed a few examples that from big companies that they approached us and wanted to come and I knew this person very well, so we had a really frank discussion, and I said, please do not come to us. We're not a daycare center. that if you want to help the Baltic Sea, rather do something with those skills that your group has and monetize that, and then donate that to us. That's then the best impact of the knowledge and capabilities of those people to the issue. And then it's our job to do that. But I can understand it's I think that we're still on a road from companies giving like to charities, for as a pity something, and then the next step is that okay, we can do something fun with them and so forth. So the ultimum is, I would like to see that it would be the everyday practice that companies see charities, and as well charities see companies as normal partners. They both have something to give to each other. That the charity is not just the receiving party, because there's a lot of information channeling into the charities from those issues that they are working with.
Yeah, like you said, networks. They have lots of data that cannot be obtained elsewhere. So there are a lot of opportunities for sure.
And it can be whatever. For instance, our charity is famous for being able to create phenomena of something. And actually, me and my colleague, the other founder, we received a very nice reward in the beginning that we were able to create the Baltic Sea as a phenomena in Finland. Well, it has been there always, the sea, but nobody talked about it. Nobody really cared about it, or if they cared, they had a special private relation to it. But after that, almost not daily, but weekly, there is some news about the Baltic Sea. It has become, it's on the agenda of many organizations and people. So I think that is some impact that I probably feel that I'm extremely happy that I have been involved in that process, because the world is full of competing issues.
Yeah. So what do you think about then? I mean, in your line of operation, I mean, if you go to the root causes of problem, you have to do a lot of research. There's a lot of kind of government work, lobbying, like you said, the PR. It's a lot of that kind of like a basic costs, like operational costs that are not just cleaning the sea or something.
Yeah.
How did you justify that? Did you ever got like feedback that, oh, you have like these basic operational costs, like admin costs are so large that, you are.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite topics is to talk about that. Why are charities measured according to the percentage of their admin costs? And it comes from old days when everybody worked in a similar way. The foundation that we set up was originally, the plan was that there will be only few people, just a handful of people, and we will use this cooperation model at every level of the society. We will engage the politicians, of course, they are not paid anyway in Finland, at least, and the research institutes, they see our value as being the ones that are always heard and interviewed if something happens. So we are not doing the research ourselves. We are working together with the university, and the research is done there. So it's also very important to understand what is your field of expertise. And so we are like orchestrating. We could never be able to have so many people with all those skills that are needed because they are so versatile. So we have ended up working in a way that we cooperate, and in business world would probably use the word that we have outsourced some things. And but because our cause is so valuable, nobody disagrees that the Baltic Sea should be clean. So, that way we are in a quite good position. And the latest nice thing was that a very famous Finnish IT house, Reaktor, produced a mobile education app for farmers. So, and it will be translated now to different languages. It is already in Finnish and Swedish, and I'm trying to get it to Poland because Poland has a lot of agriculture and very long coast side. So again, look for the where the impact would be most. But that's again an example. We have no expertise in building education system, not to speak of mobile apps. So they did it, and we are delivering it.
Yeah.
That's just an example. So you don't even need so much your own resources if you learn how to buy from outside. And like I said, this issue of admin costs, somebody in the beginning always asked me that, okay, what kind of a percentage it is you have? And I said, my goal is that it will be 100%. And you can imagine that created a shock effect. And I said, you see, then we will be most effective, because then we have outsourced everything to those who are best in their own fields. And we just have one volunteer coordinating it. Okay, that's an extreme, but I wanted to avoid the normal discussion that are they effective in their accounting or whatever. Okay, accounting, of course, we got free from somewhere because they wanted to donate that accounting company's resources for the Baltic Sea. So I said, everybody, I always use the phrase that everybody helps the Baltic Sea best by doing those things that they themselves are good at or best. So again, we're coming back to that there are doing something is always connected to some other problems. And so it's a very wide repertoire of things, services that can be donated and those that can have an effect. but you need then to know where they are and how to match and what you need and who is going to give. That's why I like the what impact.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where we are together. Yes, Anna is also investor in what impact and behind this concept as well. One question regarding the company charity collaborations. You were mentioning about the impact. So what role do you see in impact reporting to play in the partnership? So what kind of reporting you have done from your work? Because it's not instant impact, but you have an impact. How do you report your impact and how do corporates see that?
I have to say that we have a lot to do on that field. That's because it is a challenge, and that's why all new attempts based on research and those who are experienced in that area, I think they're extremely valuable. And I'm waiting to bring what impact reporting also to Finland.
Okay.
So like we might be good in many things, but seeing I think that what I tried to do in the beginning was that I tried to calculate that how much does it cost to remove one bucket of algae from the Baltic Sea, just to make it concrete for the everyday person. But I of course knew that it was a rough estimation. I mean, that's how diluted it is, water and so forth. But it was an attempt to say that that's our focus. This is what we would like to measure. How much algae, what is the impact of our operations on the algae? Because the algae is outcome of the nutrition.
Yeah.
The Baltic Sea has other problems as well, and they have, oil leaks and such. Then we're talking about risks, how much we can reduce risk level by introducing some kind of new reporting systems to the ships and so forth. So depends on the area. So it is a challenge. So and I think it must be an iterative process that companies they do have a lot of needs, and I think it as a society and as a business world we learn. We're in the learning curve of the impact issue.
Yeah, and it's not only reporting. It's about measurement, isn't it? What do you measure?
First
of all, you cannot report something you haven't measured, and then you might be measuring wrong thing in sense of what the real success of the project is, and you're measuring wrong things, and you get so that is a difficulty of it. But I guess in terms of like a company charity partnerships or grant maker to be happy, you have to report on some kind of success and define together then what the kind of success looks like, and then kind of get at least the feel of that you're moving forward, although the moving forward might be slow, like in your very slow, and so every 6 months you don't have really new outcomes to report. You might have just how many contacts or how maybe some kind who is using the app, how many people using the app, what you were just talking about, but the impact to the Baltic Sea won't be instant.
Yeah, that's true. And it's with many things. But I think that here also, if we're talking about impact, you should be honest to yourself that what impact that you are looking for. One example is sort of a general, everybody understands whatever background they have is hunger. That is your priority, provide food for the next week to some group of people who are starving, or is it to solve the hunger problem in certain area of the world? I mean, they might be competing of the same money, but the impact they are created, the measure of impact is different for those. So there is no general impact. You have to define first that, and when we're talking about companies and charities, they usually have, at least charities, they have quite clear defined mission statement where they say that they want to solve, for instance, the hunger problem. So of course, for them, the impact measurement should be then the latter one. But if you are in a crisis management and for the, okay, everybody understands probably what I mean. So there is no general impact. It's always in relation to some value or goal. And many goals are such that we share them. We don't even have to talk about them. But in many fields, we have to first define what is the level of the goal.
Yeah.
And then we get closer. I mean, there is no one model for the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I need to, because we've been introducing at what impact kind of, it's not like a philosophy, I would say, when we talk with companies and they are asking how should we think about our like a community engagement activity, CSR, and we've been saying that, you know, okay, there might be three kind of things you'd be thinking that you could seek for causes and partners and challenges to solve, which are very much linked to your corporate like industry.
Yeah.
Then there might be the local aspect of things, because wherever your branch or your office is has a local impact and effect. So you might want to tackle some challenge that are locally relevant, whatever the cause is, whether it's environmental, it might be health, sports, some kind of a cause. And then there is also some kind of societal challenge that, you know, you would like to kind of be part of, that you think as a corporate that you want to take a stand on, like homelessness, for instance, which is a quite big problem in the UK that many companies are really feeling, although it's not their industry. Of course, it might be a local level challenge, but it's more of like a societal problem that they want to be part of. But if you have these three different strategic alignments, you know, then I guess companies should be thinking about it then in parallel with the things what we were discussing, that what creates the instant help, you know, like a crisis help, something that you want to instantly give, and it gives maybe shelter for the homeless for a week, or a food basket for a family for the Christmas or something, which is just kind of something in the shorter term. Then there would be the systems change kind of a aspect of things that you will be focusing on causes and operators, charities, social enterprises that are kind of changing something fundamental in the society, so the problem wouldn't continue existing in the future. But then I guess there is the third aspect of this, the framework change, that which is already the level that there is a, how would I say, like a rapport or some kind of a existing kind of a mentality in terms of some challenge, like now, like in diversity, you know. So diversity itself is not, in, at least it seems in the Western world, not just a cause anymore. It's almost like we have agreed that diversity has to happen. There has to be diversity, equality, and it is, you know, we are all within our organizations operating already in that manner that the diversity can exist. So we have kind of agreed that this is the future of the world. So it's not the cause anymore. So what do you think about this framework change? How is it then achieved, let's say, in nature, like you were? Are we there already? Climate change is everywhere. Are we there already?
Yeah. I think that the climate change it's an outcome. It's an outcome from many projects. For instance, but it's a topic that is on the table. So it's a good way of seeing many things. For instance, for the Baltic Sea, it will the climate change will affect the Baltic Sea. The water will be warmer, and you know, there are different kind of biological processes that will happen when it gets warmer and so forth. So climate change is connected to many things, but yeah, like everybody hears that I'm not a native, so sometimes misunderstandings might bring new ideas. We were talking about diversity. You were talking about the workplace diversity and the society.
Like society.
And I was thinking, I thought that you were talking about biological diversity.
Well,
because I have my nature hat on my head. So, and that actually brought me an idea that it's not a new thing. It's we're going back to normal. We have created in our societies these rules that have created sort of homogeneous groups, and we have made choices and practices that have favored the world where you know, there is no diversity. So bringing the diversity, I think it's going back to normal.
yeah,
The world is
true.
diverse, and that is why that is also survival question for the environment is the diversity. And we're talking about biodiversity then.
Yeah.
And we see large animals, big rivers, and so forth. But the most of the important things that are under danger of distincting, is that the word? Yeah. They are minor little things we can't even see.
Yeah.
They all create the environment and the nature. But the people's ability to understand, study, also to work with complex societies, complex networks increases all the time because we have tools. The information technology comes here in. So we're not forced to make divisions because it's easier to do something. We're able to cope with that. And that's why the environment and nature is so beautiful, because it is diverse.
Yeah. But I guess this is a quite good idea that actually the framework change, although we see that it's the highest of a change kind of that there can be, it's just that we should consider whether it's nature or as humans and people as we were planned to be. We were created. Yeah. So equal, you know, mixed, everybody has, you know, their reason to be, you know, everybody has equal or should have equal opportunity to exist. I mean, beautiful thing. So framework change is actually going back to basics and, you know, how we were.
In many things, but not forgetting those things that we have as intelligence parts of the nature. We have learned, but how we use them. And I think there is maybe the transition from, we are learning that we shouldn't immediately use everything we learn before we study and think how it affects us as an ecosystem on the planet, where the human is just one part.
Yeah. So as an end note, what are the greetings you would like to give now? Any company, any size or type that is looking for partners, like social value partners, charities or social enterprises to work with, what kind of advice you would give if they would be looking into this kind of supporting something like a ground, this kind of a bigger issue, I would say, challenges that, you know, cannot be solved the next day. What do you
I think that depends which part of the company is doing this thinking. If the company is a forerunner company and they're accustomed to think about in a new ways and so forth. So I think that they should look at their strategy and their existence with open new eyes and try hard to find or also new areas where they could work with charities or social enterprises.
Thank you, Anna, so much for your time and all this insight. And happy Environment Day. And all the best for the Baltic Sea Action Group and for your activities in various countries around Baltic Sea.
Okay, it was good to talk to you.
Yeah, same.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.